Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode. I'm here with two of my very good friends, okay, let me do that again. Now it's really bad.
It's okay. Take your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for a very special episode of the KeithAndrewNetWork. It's an ECW reunion. I'm here with Joe Gertner and my good friend Raven. Two of my
How you doing?
As a real honor privilege, have you as a guest, both of you. Now, with that being said, as a half hour of your time, you can say anything you want, talk about anything you want. As we were talking off the air, but we can talk about this now because I think this is a good subject. The whole point, reason I have permission forms, and here's the whole story. I started off because I wanted to work this blog talk radio, and I did 72 audio interviews. You know, people from Barbara Goodson to Rob Axel, Kerrigan Mayhem, and people are like, why don't you have a bigger following? Why don't you have people following you and helping you? And I was still having panic attacks. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm talking to a phone, but I'm still getting anxious. So I did it over, as you can see from season 1, season 2, as you see on the camera, that reflection of you. I didn't have this in the beginning. So, with that being said, I interviewed over 300 people. And, you know, actors, actresses, models, CEOs, people with disabilities, people without learning disabilities. And I was like, okay, this is great. And little by little, people were saying, yeah, you know, my agent said, my publicist said, you ask a lot of stupid questions. We're getting...
There's no such thing as stupid questions, only stupid people, number one.
And Keith,
number
here's
two,
the
they
thing.
shouldn't have said it about you.
And anybody who says that you're asking stupid questions considering you're learning disabled, that is just mean and uncalled for. You know, you have a much harder time than everybody else because of your disability, and people should respect that. And it just makes them out. All it does is prove that people are jerks to do that. It doesn't reflect on you, because I'm sure they would say I ask stupid questions too. But you know, stupid is as stupid does, whatever that means.
No, absolutely. And I don't mean to complain to you guys. I do apologize.
And also, I wouldn't get upset about the amount of viewers you have so much, because there are so many people with podcasts that there's no way, like, it's impossible. Like, did you know that if you have over 1,000 people, that you're in the top 1% of podcasts? Like that means that 99% of podcasts have well under 1,000 people and probably under 100 viewers. So it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you got into the podcasting game about 5 years too late, and everybody was already picked up with their podcast. You know what I mean? It's also, you have to remember that your show is going to attract a niche audience because of your learning disability. So you're not going to attract, like I'm going to have if I had a guest on my show, I'd have a sleazy conversation with him. You're not going to have a sleazy conversation with him. If Joel had a guest, it's going to, if he had a podcast, do you have a podcast?
I do.
If he has a guest on, he's probably going to talk about her body parts and her sexual behavior. And that's a different
audience. Every day,
audience.
twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a different audience. You're not going to appeal to that. So, and you shouldn't. You should appeal to your audience. And so it's also people, it's hard to find other shows. You know what I mean? So, so I wouldn't take it in any kind of negative way,
No, absolutely. Yeah, I don't mean to harp on this, but, do you guys want to hear the rest of the story or not really?
Sure, no, go ahead.
And, so people are saying, asking stupid questions. My agent said I'm getting death threats. I thought I would get more opportunities because I worked with people with disabilities, and you're doing the complete opposite. So at the same time, my brother and my sister said that you're not a legit talk show. And so I said, no, screw it. I went to a lawyer, looked one up, said you do not have to be trademarked because you're not making any money, and that's $2,000. Once you start making money, I would recommend trademarking your name so no one can take it. Number one. Number two, you do not have to be copyrighted because you've been doing this for several years. and you have an online presence and people know who you are. He said your biggest thing, what I would tell you is have some kind of permission form, not a contract, that's a form that says, this is who I am, this is what I do I have your permission to use the episode, and it will not hurt your image or my image. You're just saying, I have your permission. And so I have over 700, and thanks to you, Scotty, you sent me one. I have now over 726 papers. Of course, now I need them to get them notarized, but then that's a whole big other process. I'm not getting.
Don't sell those. Don't sell those. Now those are autographed. Don't sell those on eBay. You'll wind up over the $2,000, and then you'll have to go through all the. But what I find pleasantly inspiring, motivational, is that you, with a learning disability on the books, have taken the time to learn more about your craft and your profession and this venture that you're on than most people who are doing it, who, so to speak, on the books, don't have a learning disability. And I find that fascinating and, like I say, truly inspirational.
Absolutely. I concur wholeheartedly.
No, I appreciate that.
I agree with Scotty.
I agree with Joel.
And if it's possible,
so are your brother and sister helpful?
No, not really. They want nothing to do with it.
Oh, that's a shame. How old are you?
I'm the youngest out of 4 brothers and 1 sister.
Wow.
They should be looking after you.
Are they? So wait. So how old's the oldest?
My oldest brother, I think he's like 47. Then my other brother has a disability. He wasn't born with a disability. It's a long story about that. A long story short, the doctor, like I said, it's uncensored. You can guys just say whatever you want. That's the one thing I wanted about this episode. I wanted to cater to everyone. So this episode's TB14 rated M. So pretty much long story short, the doctor fucked up, and I can tell you off the air about it. The doctor just pretty much fucked up. So he's 44. My sister's 37, 36. So you pretty much go down in the numbers.
Don't name the. By the way, don't name the doctor.
No.
Because then he's going to want to sue, and those doctors, they're like lawyers, you know what I mean?
I knew a girl named Sue who was a lawyer who sued everybody. She used to run around a lot. She used to run around a lot. She was a runaround Sue.
Ah!
So how old are you, Keith?
Oh, 32.
32. And so you only have one? You have one brother with a learning disability besides you?
Yes.
And what is his disability?
He
hasn't learned to protect his brother the right way.
He's kind of like me, only it's more noticeable.
Oh.
And for me, it's more mental than physical.
And what exactly, I forget, what exactly is your disability?
Well, for financial mental, people have always said I should write a book about it. I pretty much like you guys. You guys may be a 10. I'm pretty much like a 5 or 6.
You're selling yourself short. I don't believe it.
I read
Joel's a 3 or 2.
Yeah, like I'm a 2.25, so.
Anyway, you're saying?
I'm pretty much, I read and learn at a 5th grade level.
Right.
I'm on the spectrum of being retarded. And because I learn at a slower pace, I give you an example. You guys, I
gotta interrupt you. I find you amazing. The fact that you read at a 5th grade level, I would never guess that. I would absolutely never. I would think it's much higher. Definitely at a high school, at a senior high school level. I told you that last time I was on the show. I was totally impressed with you then, and I'm totally impressed with you now. You really, you appear a little slow, but that's okay. But not anywhere near what your statistics say you are. You're much, you come across much more intelligent. Much more verbose, you have much higher level of diction, much more literate. The fact that you did all this research into all this stuff, it's just amazing. And I know Joel agrees with me.
I want to discreetly and poorly interrupt Scotty and say I concur wholeheartedly with everything he said.
I know, but that's why I
In
said
anticipation that we'd be in agreement if we were having a private conversation.
that's why I said that I knew you would agree with me, so that you would be. I would rake your eyes, and you would not get a chance to insert your comments without being pre-approved by Mr. Raven Esquire.
We mind melded all the way back in like 1995, which is now a quarter of a century. You're
No,
like
we patty
Alexa.
melted. We patty melted.
We patty melted. That's the way us Jews do it. We went to the
With
deli
Patty
and patty
Wolf.
melted.
With Patty Wolf.
That's it, buddy.
Yeah, it's funny to mention that all three of us are Jewish. So Mazel Tov.
You're Jewish,
They're not.
Gertner?
What happened?
You're Jewish?
Abyssal.
Abyssal?
Yeah.
Abyssal, Abassal, Hassan Pfeffer Incorporated?
Abyssal and a schmeckel with a small schmeckel.
I knew you were Jewish, didn't I?
Probably. I only have the small schmeckel because I volunteered for circumcision 2 or 3 times.
Jews are
Just
known to
because
be
at the
hung.
Brits, they serve the most unbelievable food, bro. Like, you may only be 8 days old, 16 days old, 24 days old, but when they've got herring and salmon out on the platter, it's like you keep coming back for more, you know?
Yeah, but if the herring's
I'll give up
24
the
days
17.
old, though, that's got to be.
If it's the same, no, absolutely right.
Yeah, but but Jews are known for having large penises, actually.
And being fiscally conservative.
Yes, that too.
And owning Hollywood and the banks.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I always joke about my dad because when we make a barbecue, I always say, "Why don't you ever get the foot longs?" And he just stares at me, never really answers it.
Is your parents still married?
Yes, 46 years.
Wow, that's great. And you get along with them really well?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. My parents passed away years ago, and I feel like an orphan now.
Well, like I said to Joe off the air, we should definitely hang out at some point. Once I get a studio, I can buy you guys lunch or something.
Well, not with the COVID. Not till the COVID's over.
No, absolutely. And, like I said, I do. Well, a lot of people don't know this story, and this is not about me. This is about you guys. I kind of got what I wanted in a way, because this all started with, you're probably going to laugh at me. This all started with a birthday wish. People said, when you turn 21, it's the most special birthday you can have in a lifetime. I'm like, well, I don't drink, okay, I drink on special occasions, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Have you ever been drunk?
Buzzed, but that's under a stupid reason.
What was the stupid reason?
I tried to impress this girl that I liked, but didn't work out.
I'm sorry.
No, it's understandable. It's back in 2007, so I learned from my mistakes. But people said, oh, you turned 21. It's the most special birthday you can have in a lifetime. Well, I don't drink. I don't smoke. If I have to die, I would like to have a couple famous friends to hang out with. Like I have you guys.
Right.
And in a way, I met Velvet Sky. I met Ashley Mazzales. God rest her soul. I had Jet Jarrett on the show, Kansas Michelle. I'm actually talking to Eric Bischoff about having him on the show. So I met 700. Well, okay, officially, it's over 1,000, but most of those people were assholes. Like I was telling you why I came up with the permission forms.
Right.
Because I got tired of idle threats. So overall...
Well, wait, an idle threat's better than a threat that they carry out.
Well, I didn't know what they were going to do. So they just pretty much scared the shit out of me, like saying, we're going to take your show away, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So that's why I wrote up a form and show you, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what the show is about. So it was supposed to be in a couple thousands, but I had to do it over. So I had 300. I erased all of them, and I did it over. So now it's officially 726. But if you count all the episodes I did in the past, it was supposed to be like somewhere in the 900s right now.
So wait, when, how often do you do your show?
Whenever I have somebody.
And who are some of the names other than wrestlers that you've had?
I had Michael Landsberg, he's from Off the Record.
Right.
I had, trying to think without hurting myself. a lot of upcoming actors, Kerrigan
Sure.
Mayhem from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a lot of people from Power Rangers.
Sure.
So that's pretty much people like that. They're not A-listers, they're D and C listers. They're just up-and-coming people.
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm a G-lister.
It's hard to get A-listers, you know?
My parents almost didn't take me home from the hospital, you know what I mean? So who am I to,
What about Tiny Lister?
Tiny Lister's on a really big list that's exclusive.
Tiny Lister's a B-lister. Tiny Lister's a C-lister. What?
What about the Sinister Minister? What lister is he? Is he on the Sinister Minister lister?
No, he's on a Listerine. Or he needs to get on the Listerine.
What about Mr. Mister? What kind of list is Mr. Mister on?
Mr. Mister, they let's see, they have Curie, LA, it's some of the road that I must travel. And they
don't have Doctor, give me the news, which is weird.
No, but that's Robert has that in his Palmer.
Right.
It's funny.
Or a rock and roll hoochie coo.
Why don't it's funny. I know you work with TNA, and you did a promo with Rosemary. And Rosemary and me have been talking about setting up an interview. It's still in the works. But I actually liked the interview where you guys did. Not the interview, a promo where you got to be in an old age home with Tommy. You got to be swiping his IV bag.
Right.
It's a shoot, though. It is a shoot.
Yeah, it's true. I will swipe his IV bag.
But like I said, this is an ECW reunion. I want to ask you guys, what were some of your favorite ECW stories and memories?
Some of my favorite stories involve me and Dreamer and me and Sandman and our feuds, and I thought that we did some really good stuff. And I liked how Joel's arms would double backwards when they'd pull his jacket off him.
You've mentioned that before.
His double jointedness. His arms are like they're like cowboy doors. Like in a cowboy bar, they go flap back and forth. They just go, and his arms go. And they weren't even bent either. They were like straight. They were completely straight, and they doubled back.
I'm humbled that you bring that up because it's not the first time, which makes it true. Anything that happens with repetition is obviously
even if it was completely not true to begin with.
Absolutely, just repetition.
But that is true, unembellished.
No, absolutely. And I actually found this out recently. I want to say thank you for your service. I didn't know you served in the Army.
Marine Corps. Served in the Marine Corps.
Well, I say thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
My grandfather was actually in the Army.
Oh, really?
Engineer Corps.
Nice. Joel served his country. He worked at McDonald's.
Did he say have it your way?
Mm-hmm. Did you say have it your way, Joel?
No, I asked if people wanted kasha varnishka with that. I was gone within a day.
Would you like a matzo ball with your hamburger?
This burger is beautiful. What is it, velvet?
You guys are really funny together. Have you ever thought about?
We're funny all the time.
Yes, well, I'm a funny person, and so is Joel.
Yeah. When I have a genius like Scotty to play off of, I'm okay. When left to my own devices, if it's just me and the wife or me and these four walls, then it starts to sound a little bit more like insanity. But with Scotty, we're pretty good.
I know a while ago I asked, I threw the idea. It's like, hey, maybe I can be a guest in your show. And he said I may not be a good fit. But I flex to and fit in any situation. So if I see an opportunity, I jump for it. So, hey, if you ever want to have me on the show, I would love the opportunity.
I don't actually have guests on my show. My show is just me and two co-hosts, and we just talk to each other. But if we had guests, though, we'd put you on. But we don't have guests.
Well, we could always do like a special episode where we can do an episode for my show, but instead of me asking you the questions, you get to ask me the questions. So it can be like a special Raven Effect episode, but on the Keith Andrew Network. And Joe, baby, we can do something like that.
All right, but you have to remember now, though, that my audience probably is completely different. So it really wouldn't, if I did a special episode and I had you as a guest, what we would talk about probably wouldn't be interesting to my audience, though. It's not about you; it's about my audience.
No, absolutely. And the reason for the ECW reunion, I was telling Joe about this off the air. I actually planning on doing a WCW reunion because I interviewed some stars. I want to do a WWE reunion. I actually talked to Chris Harris, and he's like, well, I wasn't really a part of the old ECW. I was part of the new ECW. And well, it doesn't make a difference. I would love to have you with us. So we talked about, okay, when's the next event you're going to do? Said, well, I'm planning on doing a TNA reunion. When do you think I should do that? And he said, why not do it in January? So I know, Joe, you said you weren't really, in TNA that much. But Raven, if
Were you in TNA at all?
Half a coffee, an eighth of a Danish, yeah.
An eighth of a
nights.
Danish, it'll go to my hips.
While I have it on, before I forget, and not out of Machiavellian machination and not out of self-aggrandizement or promotion, but Keith Andrew, would it be something that you would find palatable that perhaps we start off like this? Maybe Scotty and I do something akin to a crossover episode of The Raven Effect and the 69-minute Eargasm. And we spend anywhere between 1 and 10 minutes talking about surely our most recent ECW memory, which is being on the Keith Andrew Network show.
No, that would be great.
Scotty, what say you?
Yeah, sure, I don't mind. Not at all.
I'm going to hold you to it. Consider that's an audio permission waiver, by the way.
All right. Yeah, that's no problem. Hey, Keith, here, can I give you a suggestion, though?
Yeah.
You should have more questions for your guests.
Oh, I have pages. It's just.
Well, let's hear some. Let's hear some.
All right. So, and by the way, it's got to kick us off because I don't pay it for the full hour, so the timer's kind of running down. But I do have some ideas I would love to talk to you guys off the air about. But, some of the questions were, for an example, who has inspired you in your life and why?
A lot of people inspired me. It all depends in different fields, different eras, different ages. Sometimes musicians inspire me, sometimes authors, sometimes, my friends. Sometimes it's just divine inspiration. Or maybe that's perspiration. I'm not sure.
And then everyone is
tangible. It's tangible and palpable. I can smell it from here.
Thank you very little.
You're welcome, very least. You know who really has had an effect on my life, especially on my career? In a week or two here in September. In a week or two, I'm going to be celebrating 25 years as an ECW original and 29 years in the wrestling business. And in those 4 years or so, from 91 to 95, before ECW, who inspired me was Scotty Flamingo, because I, on the independent circuit in New York City area, was Joey Jaguar, manager extraordinaire, and I was from Flamingo Drive in West Palm Beach, Florida.
No, you weren't.
And you can look it up if you can find it, but it's pre-World Wide Web, so stuff prior to 95 starts to get harder to find, but it's all documented. I think Keith Andrew has it in that stack.
I find that hard to believe, but I accept the compliment and in the snarkiness that it was meant.
It's funny. My brother always thought your real name, Scotty, was Johnny Polo.
No, that was a later gimmick. That was something I never wanted to be, but I had fun doing, but I just didn't want to. It wasn't what I wanted.
Scotty's work as One Punch Bingo, Scotty Flamingo, is highly underrated.
You know, it's funny. I always loved your work when you were working with Gorilla Monsoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I said that, I'm just looking at the timer because it's went over our limit. But I would love to have you guys back on. You know, it's for a full 30 minutes. I know I have pages of great episodes.
In January, I'll come back in January for the TNA reunion.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I promise it will be better. Well, and let me rephrase that. Hanging out with you guys really means a lot to me. But
Good.
I promoted the show with, you know, some other people. I don't know where the hell they disappeared to, but, you know, it doesn't matter. Having, like you said to me, and I rephrase this on all my interviews, it's not the destination what matters, it's the journey what matters.
Exactly. You can't be in a rush to get somewhere. You have to
It's
enjoy
the journey
ride.
and it's the mode of transportation, Keith. And you, as somebody who, like I said before, has learned about your craft, even though you suffer from this learning disability, the fact that you've climbed the mountain and that you're overachieving and that you're getting past it and living your best life, knowing things about this craft that others don't, you know, again, I think it speaks volumes about you and your personal character.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Now, I do have a couple questions for you guys off the air.
All
But
right.
wrapping up, how can your fans follow you on social media? That's my first question.
Twitter is at the Raven Effect, and that's pretty much all I do.
You should get on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to probably, but I'm too lazy.
What about you, Joe?
Twitter is Studmuffin Says, and Instagram is Quintessential Studmuffin. I've also got the podcast, the 69-Minute Eargasm. You can get it Apple, Spotify, Android, wherever you get podcasts. We've got a second one coming out that's with the blessing of Conrad Thompson, the Podfather. It's going to be his ECW redheaded stepchild. It's going to be called Extreme Championship Wednesdays. And I also have a YouTube channel. The name of the channel is just my name, Joel Gertner. If you are one of the next 46 subscribers, then you will be one of the first 1,000 subscribers. If
If
not,
you're one of the next 46 subscribers, you'll be one of the first 46 subscribers.
pretty much. You'll be 900 away from one of the first 46 subscribers, pretty much.
And then my last question for you, I want you guys to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my show the second time, were you, because I had mixed emotions, not from me, from other people, like, oh, Jesus, he wants me to be on his show again. Once was enough. Or other people like, oh, we had a great time being on your show. We loved what you're doing. So I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you guys for a second time, what made you say yes? And what would you say to everyone out there who are hesitant about being on my show?
Joel?
There's no reason to be hesitant about being on this show. I mean, it's a great way to spend. I mean, it's a half-hour show. It's light. There's no like pin somebody to the wall or crazy gotcha questions or any kind of ulterior motive. I mean, it's just a 30-minute chat. If it fits into somebody's agenda and if they've got the time and they want to promote themselves, certainly your learning disability that you have, it's on the books. I don't think that's any reason that would make somebody want to recoil from this project. If anything, I think it would attract them to the project. So I've been on once before. It was a blast, and I had no reservations about coming back on with you.
I have dinner reservations. No, I totally enjoyed it. I think doing it more. I like the fact that you didn't bother me. You waited a couple months, like we talked about. And then you called me and then you direct messaged me and said, can we do it again? I'm like, sure. And I'll do it again in January with you. I'm more than happy. I enjoy doing it with you. I enjoy talking to you. You're a great guy. You're a really good guy and you mean well. And anybody who doesn't want to help out is just mean or they're busy with their own life.
I mean, you're talking to somebody there that's a legend, that's been in every wrestling promotion under God's hot sun, that's been on television and has a SAG card. So honestly, all these up-and-comers, all these, if they are D-listers and they're trying to become C-listers, they should learn a little bit about promotion and about how the business works.
And if they're C-listers, they'd be clisters.
No, absolutely.
Blister, right? B-listers would be blisters, so I guess
Yes.
that makes sense.
Yes. I should
I
have
do
went
have-
with blisters. I should have went with blisters.
Unless
Yeah.
they're in the sun.
That's only violent femmes are like that, though.
Well, I do have a couple questions for you. We're wrapping up at our talk show. We're wrapping up. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, both of you. And I'm looking forward to part 3 down the road.
Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toft.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey there, I'm Saki Mieta.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show.